Today's story, the subject matter in this book at this point, in this chapter, are stories that happened during that period of the CZAR called by the Russian government in its effort to take control of Jewish education. Tzemach Tzedek's war then against the Maskilim, the Reform movement, and by extension, the Russian government. So this story is not in the Friedrich Rebbe Tzichas, but it's told by who? Shimas Dvorim, that's a Yudel Chitrik. Fascinating story. So in these meetings that took place in that protracted meeting in St. Petersburg, the Tsar Nikolai would come and attend in disguise, wanting to hear the discussion. So one of the meetings, the minister of Sar HaSkola, that would be the minister of education, or not, that would be Sar HaChinuch, Sar HaSkola, the minister of enlightenment, asked the Tzemach Tzedek, how can he explain the strange things it says in the Gemara, like the stories in Baba Basra of Rabbi Bar Chana? For example, says the minister, the Gemara records that once he saw an egg that drowned 60 cities and uprooted 300 cedar trees. I remember when we were in Yeshiva, we lived in Baba Basra, it goes on for pages and pages. So in other literature yeshivas, they skip it. It's agadat, and we learned that just like any other thing. But how do you explain this? So the Rebbe said to him, Tzemach Tzedek, you know that I am the Rebbe of tens of thousands of Chassidim, and I'm very esteemed in the eyes of all Yidden. And whatever I say is holy for them. If I'm going to write one day in the Sefer that the power of the Tsar, the Russian Tsar, is so great. Now, the Tsar is listening to this. Tzemach Tzedek is talking. That one drop of ink that comes from his pen can destroy 100 cities and uproot tens of thousands of people from their place. All understand what I mean. I mean a decree of the Tsar that forbade Jews, and he's talking about what actually was happening, from living within 50 parsa, whatever, kilometers from the borders of the city. This is the pale of settlement that the Jews were relocated to, and Jews couldn't live in big cities. The Tzemach Tzedek is talking, now the Tsar is present listening. They don't understand that's what it means. But years later, after this decree will certainly be nullified and forgotten. This is what he's saying to the Tsar, and by saying it, the Tzemach Tzedek is affecting it. People won't understand what I said. But because they respect me, no one's going to say that what I wrote is a lie, God forbid. And they'll say this is beyond understanding. That was written a long time ago, and it's beyond our understanding. A drop of ink can destroy hundreds of cities and displace tens of thousands of people. That's the cedar trees being uprooted, right? And so too, he said that's the Gemara. This is not just words of exaggeration, but this is very deep. But the one who doesn't understand the depth of it, it doesn't mean that what's stated there is not true, but that's his limited understanding. He's looking at it literally, and doesn't understand the depth of what Rabbi Bar Chana was saying more than 1,000 years ago in the Talmud. And he concludes through these words of the Tzemach Tzedek, the Tsar was so impressed that led to the nullification of the decree of banning Jews from living in the big cities. Okay, friends.